Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss about background of the economic planning in India. Okay. So in the last class we discussed about the introduction towards the Indian planning. So that is related to the economy. So this is the new chapter. So that is the fifth chapter planning in India. Okay. Almost the all the important informations will be given in this chapter regarding the planning economy. Okay. So coming to the subject, so by the 1930s, in the idea of planning has already entered into the domain of the intellectual and political discussions in India. Okay, so whenever there was some important educated persons and intellectual, it means the knowledgeable persons in India. So first of all, they got an idea about the economic planning. So we already discussed about the what is planning in the previous chapter. Okay, so planning is very important to get the growth and development. Without the planning we cannot succeed. Okay, so for example, for anything, for any program, for any celebration, just we have an idea about the particular program, just we have to write something which is very important for that program on a paper, so that is known as plan. Okay, in the same way for an entire country, there's so many people are living in the country, means we have to estimate what is going in the country, especially that is related to the economy. Okay, so planning is very important for getting the growth and development. Okay, in the same way, this type of the mentality and the ideology was came into force during the 1930s only. It means before independence, before we got independence only, this type of the ideology was entered into the intellectual persons and the political discussions in India. Okay, so many fresh proposals regarding the planning, especially there was an immediate situation to get the planning economy, because all the materials, all the important goods were sold by the Britishers without giving the money to the economy of India. Okay, it means there was a loss to the economy of India. Even there was no person to keep an eye on those things and activities. Okay, so that's why there was a lot of loss was given to the India by the Britishers. So that's why we have an planning. So how to manage these activities and how to manage these materials and how to get the wealth. Okay, so whenever comes to the Britishers, they never follow the planning, because they always remind immune to the planning economy, because whenever there was a planning, just we have to maintain some records that is related to the Indians and Britishers, how many raw materials were sold by the Britishers and how much money was received by the Indians. So these type of the records will be maintained. This is the main aim. So that's why Britishers didn't want to make a planning economy in India. Okay, but these humble proposals of the planning served their purpose once India became independent. Just we thought, so this was not possible during the British rule. So whenever we got independence, so that time only we can follow the planning economy in India. Okay, so and they decided, the intellectual persons and knowledgeable persons and the educated persons in that particular time during the independence movement, and the political leaders also, there are so many political leaders and there are so many persons who are involving in the independence movement. They thought it was not possible to become a planning economy in India, but we can follow these principles in the planning economy, we can adopt the planning economy once we got independence. So this is the one important purpose they thought. Okay, because during the British rule this was not possible to become a planned economy. Okay, so the first plan which was regarding the planning economy was a Visvesvaraya plan, Moksha Gundam Visvesvaraya. Okay, so the credit of proposing the first blueprint of Indian planning is given to the popular civil engineer and ex-Diwan of the Mysore state was Moksha Gundam Visvesvaraya. Okay, so he was the first person who thought about the Indian planning, and he given the blueprint of the Indian planning planning. Okay, so he was very famous in India especially. So his book, he wrote one book, so that is the Planned Economy of India. Okay, so in the entire book there was a important principles, important things, important activities what we are following. So those are very important for the planning economy in India. Okay, so this book was published in 1934, and he outlined in this book, he outlined the broad contours. It means the outline he was designed in his proposal. Okay, so coming to his ideas in that particular the Planned Economy of India book. Okay, so his ideas of the state planning were an exercise in democratic capitalism. Okay, it was similar to the United States. So with emphasis on the industrial, just we have to more focus on the industrialization, and we have to follow the democratic capitalism. So in the democratic capitalism, just we have an increase the power of the state planning also. Okay, so it means we have to shift labor from the agriculture to the industries. Just whenever comes to the industrial sector, it was targeting to the double national income in one decade itself only. Okay, so in that particular time, the people that thought that agriculture sector is a backwardness of a country. So it means there was a traditional activity and traditional mode of the transportation, traditional mode of the cultivation. So this was not reachable for all the countries people, especially for food. It means there was no sufficient food, because we followed the traditional mode of or traditional method of the cultivation. So that's, this was not suitable for the entire country. So whenever comes to the all the people, because the people also increasing day by day. So whenever there were invention of the medicines and discovery of the some important new things, and the food habits also changed, and the neatness will be increased. So that's why the people also increasing, their lifespan also increasing. So that's why the people always thinking about the future. So here, because of the traditional mode and the traditional method of the agriculture cultivation, so that's why there was a need to focus on the industries. Okay, so whenever a country is based on the industries, so the country will be a developed economy. In that particular time, this was a thought of the particular intellectuals and knowledgeable persons. Okay, so whenever the country is very well in the industrial sector, so that country leads to the growth and development. Okay, so this is the main thing. And he said the double national income. So whenever there was only agriculture sector, only the normal national income, whenever we adopt the industrialization, so there may be a chance to lead a national double national income in one decade. It means within 10 years, so we'll get the double national income. Okay, so these are the important principles and thoughts and views of the Mokshagundam Visvesvaraya in his book, that is the Planned Economy of India. Okay, so in that particular time there was a British rule, right? So there was no follow up by the British government on this plan. Okay, so just it was an idea of the intellectual persons, that is in Mokshagunda Visvesvaraya. So it aroused an urge for the national planning among the educated citizens. Just educated citizens only, they got idea about the planning. Okay, so they thought that this type of the economy leads to the agricultural economy, this type of the economy may leads to the industrial. When we got independence, so we have to follow the planning, and we have to adopt the particular industrial sector as a prime moving sector. So in that particular time only will get the double national income. So these are the thoughts of the intellectual and educated citizens of the country only. But these important designs and programs, plannings, principles were not followed by the Britishers, because whenever they followed this type of the planning, so first of all the India will get the success. Okay, so whenever the India will see the wealth of this particular economy, so automatically the British rule will be ended. Okay, so that's why, because of this fear only, the Britishers didn't want to get the planning economy in India. Okay, so here the background of the economic planning in India. So this is very large topic. So that's why I'm dividing each and every plan and proposals and committees into into different videos. So that's in this video we discussed about the Mokshagundam Visvesvaraya plan, because this was the first blueprint of the Indian planning. So in the next classes I'll give the information regarding the FICCI proposal, Congress plan, and the Bombay plan, and Gandhian plan, and Sarvodaya plan, People's plan. Okay, so there's so many reports were started to suggesting the planning towards the Indian economy. Okay, so I'll give these important topics into divide into the different videos. Okay, thank you.